A couple of weeks ago, I got to thinking, wouldn't it be nice if you had centerpiece locations you could pull out in D&D for big events? If you're going to the Hall of the Dragon, you could pull out the Hall of the Dragon, show them exactly what's where. If you're going to a pub on the regular, build a little floor plan, little fireplace door, just so people have a better idea of where they are. Not everyone has the same ideas of places in their heads, but it's important that they know what it looks like. You can show them. And here's how we build that. I measured the box I was using width and lengthwise and decided that I wanted my walls to be 2 inches high, so I'm cutting strips 2 inches wide for both the length and the width. The lengthwise ones I cut from strips of offcuts from a previous project just to save foam. Next I got the internal width of this thing and I cut 3 slices of 3, 4 and 5 inches respectively to that width. They're going to overlap and become a dais when they're cut out. I used a pokey thing, which is a technical term, to make holes all the way through the foam so that I know where to cut them out through all 3 layers. I peeled the top layer off a piece of foam a little over an inch thick and started to draw on a rough stone pattern, which I then cut out with an X-Acto knife. This took approximately forever to do. I drew a line where the candle poked above the dais and I hot glued the stonework over it. This should be pretty easy to bend because of all the perforations you put in. I then filled in the join with hot glue, base coated it black and left it to dry. Always be mindful when you're making up greys that the colour you make is going to dry darker. That's why I brushed some light tan into this while it's still wet just to bring up the overall colour. I also made a point to only paint the surface so that the cracks look more dark and shadowed. I intentionally used a lot of hot glue here to give the appearance that the fire pit is piled high with old coals. I found these stones at a craft store, but you could use fish tank stones for much the same effect. I then painted these guys black once the hot glue was dry and I was ready for the next step. All I wanted to give here was the impression of glowing embers, so I just coated the tops of the stones close to the flame with a dark cadmium red. Now we glue loose cotton close to the flame. Pack in a lot, but pull out anything that doesn't stick well. You should be left with a wisp around the flame, which should be illuminated when you turn the light on. I wanted to give a marble feel to the dais, so first we'll base coat it in a lighter grey than we used on the fire pits. When stippling on colours, it's better to start dark and work your way to lighter colours. I started off with the Payne's grey, and I moved on to a metallic gold. The third coat was a dark aquamarine colour, I can't remember its name, and the last one was that same aquamarine mixed in with a light fawn. I made these 2 thrones in much the same way as I made the crates in the previous video. Expect something more detailed at a later date. This whole piece was designed to be a throne room for the Fae court, the Winter Fae, so I made the paint job to evoke a winter sky. The first layer is a dark cyan, and the second is the same colour mixed with white in a thin coat, so the undercoat is still barely visible through. It doesn't show up well on camera, but I used a deep turquoise here, and I did the exact same thing with the lighter shade after the darker shade.
To finish, I cut up a stick-on wall tile with 1-inch squares to the box's internal dimensions. I could have made the floor from craft foam with a grid cut in, but I preferred the look of these tiles. The candles I got also change colours, which gives the room a more magical feel.
So that's how I went about making this. I really like it. There are a couple of things I'd do differently next time, and hopefully there will be a next time. I want to make a dwarven forge in the same kind of way, but have it have multiple modular parts. If you'd like to see that, tune in. Next time we are going to make a door to go on the front of this, something big and ornate, just as a focus piece. So tune in to see how Fig makes that.